so much for coming in today, Miss Brenda Bell-Guercio. You're the mayor of Indian Springs Village, and we're so excited to have you in today.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. So I want to talk a little bit about before you were mayor, you were actually a radiologist for several years. So could you tell us a little bit about your career doing that, and then also what that transition was like to being mayor?
Okay. Well, I was brought up in a very, very small town in Mississippi. I went to college at Emory in Atlanta, Georgia, and then came here for medical school and practiced radiology for about 27 years. And I will say it was back in a time when there weren't still as many women in medicine, and you had to work a little harder and, really go over some obstacles to get good jobs and be thought of as qualified back in those days. So that was a challenge, and I'm glad it's different now. I think the women are taking over the profession.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. So how do you feel like you learned anything kind of from overcoming those challenges?
Definitely. Definitely. And you all will experience obstacles and challenges throughout your life, and you just got to keep going and believe in yourself and don't let anybody take anything away from you. But you also asked how it was changing from being a doctor to being on the council and mayor. And really, when you're a doctor and you find somebody that's got an acute appendicitis, you're going to operate right then. It was hard for me to realize that being a mayor, if I wanted to make a change in an ordinance for the better of the town and the residents, it took a long time. I was used to things being like, we need to do this. It's the right thing to do. Let's do it. Let's get it done. But it may take months to make changes. Not always, but that was something that I had to take a step back and realize it'll happen, but you just got to go through the process.
Yeah. What first got you interested in politics?
I wouldn't really say that I was interested in politics, but I was interested in service and giving back. And I love this town.
Yes.
And I wanted to make sure that it stayed like we originally intended it to when we formed the town back in the early 90s. We didn't want it to grow, and no criticism to other cities, but we didn't want to be a Pelham or an Alabaster or a Chelsea. We wanted this corridor on 119 to stay beautiful and peaceful and serene. And the reason we formed the town back then was that Pelham and Hoover were about to grab this corridor.
Oh, wow.
And they had said, especially Pelham back then, that they would would look like a Pelham Superhighway in a few years, that they would commercialize this entire strip.
Yeah.
So all this beautiful pastures and backing up to Oak Mountain State Park and all would have been commercialized.
I can't imagine it like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard to form a town. It took a lot of work from many people that had the foresight to see what needed to be done and work to do it. So that's why I got into it. I want to preserve it and keep it like it is.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So what do you think makes Indian Springs so special? What do you think was kind of the driving force behind y'all wanting to preserve it?
I think it was that we didn't want to be a commercial corridor. We wanted to preserve family life, farms, horses, deer, everything that makes it peaceful and serene. You've got all that right next to you. You've got Herdmont Park. You've got a wonderful sheriff department. You've got a great North Shelby Fire Department. We didn't need to duplicate services and just build all this around our town.
Yeah.
So we wanted to keep it like it is, with great schools and good place to raise your children and have a family.
That's awesome.
Yeah. What positive impact have you seen on Indian Springs during your time as either councilwoman or as mayor?
There were a couple of things I really wanted to accomplish, and I'm so happy to say that happened. One thing was very controversial, and a lot of people didn't like me for it, but we changed an ordinance so that any new developments have to be at least 3 acres. Now, some people that had 40 acres in their family were very upset because when they passed away, they wanted to leave those 40 acres to their kids that might be in California or wherever, and didn't care about Indian Springs and would sell and develop 41-acre lots.
Oh,
well, if you know what that does when you have hard surface, what I mean, the foundations, the driveways, then the rain cannot be absorbed or perk right. So we would have flooding. So we did that to protect the valley from flooding.
Oh, wow.
And they could still sell their 3 acres at a better price.
Yeah.
That made a lot of people mad for a while, but that is something that I think will preserve this town and keep it from being flooded and keep the roads and traffic as good as it can possibly
It's
be.
amazing. There's so much that goes into being mayor that people don't think about, that's like kind
True.
of behind the scenes, that like I never would have thought about something like that until you mentioned it.
But the best thing was we promised when we formed the town that we would never have property tax, and we won't. But we also said we wouldn't have sales tax. But that was 30-something years ago.
Yeah.
You have to realize that times change, and what was right at one point, you got to rethink it sometimes.
Yeah.
So that 2% sales tax we instituted about 2.5 years ago, and it's
Yeah.
still the lowest one around. But that has made us able to donate all this money to the schools and give y'all,
Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome.
things for choir, for band, for softball, for not just athletics, but also things in the academic department as well.
Yeah.
So that I'm really proud of that, and that will continue even when I'm not mayor. So
Yeah, that's wonderful. I know we kind of talked about things that people wouldn't necessarily think of being as part of the role of mayor. What do you think that's something kind of unexpected that most people still wouldn't realize about, like, stuff that comes with your job?
maybe phone calls on a Saturday at 8 in the morning saying, I've rented the town hall and I don't have the code to get in the building. You want to say, yes, you do. It came with your email. It came with when you paid your money. And then try to give them that, or you throw on your clothes and go up there and unlock the door for them. Something like that. Or someone's calling, at 9 o'clock at night that their neighbor's dog has, done their business in their yard. And what are you going to do about that?
Yeah. That's funny.
Yeah. You're also heavily involved in the community outside of your role as mayor. Could you tell us about why you think it's so important to be involved in the community and why you choose to do so and what you do for that?
Well, I am involved in Kiwanis, and that y'all have a great key club here.
Yes.
And I think that's really important. I would encourage more people to join it because that puts you on the road to service later in life.
Yeah.
And Kiwanis does things for children all over. The national Kiwanis and international, but here in our town, we try to do fundraisers that support, more things in our area, Indian Springs schools, as well as other surrounding areas. But I think that it's just important to try to give back to your community and make it a better place, make it a better world. I mean, if we all did that, what a difference we could all make. So that's the thing. And of course, my family's very involved in rescuing animals too. So that's our passion. I have 4 rescue dogs. There's been a time when we've had 12, which is a little much.
My goodness.
Oh my
Wow.
We also have a 55-year-old rescue parrot.
Oh, wow.
And
That's so
2
cool.
horses. So
That's amazing.
Yeah. So what do you think drives you personally to want to be serving others and serving the community and making like positive impact?
I think it's my faith. That, I feel like God has given me so much, health, home, wonderful family, friends. And I feel like that I have to do that. That's something that we're all supposed to do. And I want to. So I look for ways to open myself up to be of service. And through the town and through helping animals and through clubs like Kiwanis that try to do good things.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And you've been with the Indian Springs Town Hall for so long. Why have you not chosen to go into like a bigger government role? Why have you stuck with local government?
I think I'm too old for that. And I cannot see me down in Montgomery now. I might jump to Washington if I'd done it earlier. But,
Yeah, that's wonderful. What advice would you give to someone who's looking to be more involved in their community?
Volunteer, volunteer, volunteer. Our whole town is built on volunteers. I think most people know, but we don't get paid anything for being mayor or council. So it's a little different. Sometimes there are not that many people knocking on the door for the job because there's no reimbursement. You have to love it. You have to want to serve, and you have to put the time in for no financial benefit. There are benefits, of course. So I think the best thing I can say is please always volunteer. Look for ways when you grow up in your town, your schools, your kids' schools, to volunteer, and you'll get led from there into positions that are supposed to be for you.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming in today. I
You're
think
very
we've had
welcome.
such a great time talking with you and learning more about your job and everything. And
We
it's
love Oak Mountain, and your
Yes.
schools are wonderful. We're very proud of all of you. So please
we're so
express
grateful.
that.
We're so grateful for your support and constant service.
Thank you.
yes. And thank you for everything you've done for us before and for coming in today. It was so great talking with you.